Mani Ngwaagan, Peltier just because we come from Donjba. Ngwaagan Gamig Donjnaki. Mijkos Ngwaagan Enkitam. Just introduce myself. I'm Chuck Peltier. I'm the Cannabis Education Coordinator for Rainbow Lodge. And we're going to do a little presentation and have a little bit of dialogue on cannabis education. There's my contact information, so you can reach me at Rainbow Lodge, 705-859-2324, or you can reach me by email, capeltier@ngwaagan.ca. My business cards are here, and there's some resource material you can take home with you, and if you have any questions, you can always give me a call or send me an email. Some of the topics we'll be learning today is what is cannabis, cannabis harms, cannabis safety, and cannabis rules. Here's a little video on cannabis education back in 1930s.
These high school boys and girls are having a hop at the local soda fountain. Innocently they dance, innocent of a new and deadly menace lurking behind closed doors. Marijuana, the burning weed with its roots in hell. In this film, you will see the ease with which this vicious plant can be grown in your neighbor's yard, rolled into harmless-looking cigarettes, hidden in an innocent shoe or watch case. In this startling film, you will see dopesters lure children to destruction.
We're going over to Joe's place. Why don't you come along? We have a date to play instead of doubles. Oh, you can play anytime. Come on, we'll have some laughs. Can I go along with you? Sure. Hey, I'll see you at dinner, sis.
If you want a good smoke, try one of these.
You will meet Bill, who once took pride in his strong will as he takes the first step toward enslavement.
Of course, if you're afraid.
Smoking the soul-destroying reefer, they find a moment's pleasure, but at a terrible price. Debauchery, violence, murder, suicide. And the ultimate end of the marijuana addict. Hopeless insanity. Now, before it is too late.
Yeah, so that's just some cannabis education back in 1930s. It's a little bit outdated, but that was cannabis. What cannabis was thought to be back then in those times. So what is cannabis? Cannabis is a plant that has mental and physical effects, such as creating a high or impaired feeling, general change in perception, and heightened mood. This is your basic cannabis leaf. This is your cannabis flower. This is a picture of an indoor garden. This is a picture of an outdoor garden. So this is one plant here. So you're allowed legally to grow 4 plants in your residence. So if you have 20 people living in your residence, your household, you can only have 4 plants at that household. So that's how that works out. Cannabis comes in 3 different types: sativa, indica, and hybrid. Your sativa plants are more of a narrow leaf plant. Then your indica is a more broader leaf plant. And a hybrid is just a genetically modified plant that is made up of a indica plant and a sativa plant. Sativas are more mind-dominant, anti-anxiety, antidepressant, Your indicas are more body dominant. They're sedating, muscle relaxant, reduce nausea. Sativa versus indica versus hybrid. You gotta know your difference between sativas and indicas. Sativas are more better suited for the daytime, and indicas are better suited for nighttime. So there's just some images of knowing your cannabis, but you can find all this information online. There's lots of cannabis resources online now. So, what is THC and CBD? CBD is cannabidiol. It's a non-psychoactive part of the plant. Can reduce anxiety and euphoric effects of THC. THC, tetrahydrocannabidiol, is the psychoactive part of the plant. Causes euphoria and anxiety and munchies. Here's a little video on the Cannabis Act in Canada.
It is now legal for adults to use cannabis in Canada, but there are a few things you need to know. Cannabis became legal for adults on October 17, 2018. It's your responsibility to know what is legal in your province or territory, including the legal age and where you are able to buy and use cannabis. If you're high, don't drive or go to work. Store cannabis securely and away from kids, and don't travel internationally with cannabis. Whether you're leaving or entering Canada, it remains illegal to take cannabis across the Canadian border. Find out more and get the facts at canada.ca/cannabis. A message from the Government of Canada.
There's lots of information on Cannabis Canada's website too, so any resources that I have here, they're available online too in a digital version, so you can always use them as a good resource for cannabis information. Cannabis is legal on October 17, 2018. The Cannabis Act came into force. So the Cannabis Act was created to create a strict framework for controlling the production, distribution, sale, and possession of cannabis in Canada. There's a tax excise stamp for Ontario. This will be on all cannabis products, legal cannabis products in Ontario. And this is an authorized cannabis dealer. This logo will be on all legal dispensaries. The Ontario Cannabis Store provides all the cannabis products for the legal cannabis dispensaries. This is some of your standard cannabis labeling and packaging. This is the standard symbol for cannabis. All the cannabis products will have all the warning labels on here. Will basically look the same, different colors. They'll come in all kinds of different forms, jars, bags, or for the oil droppers. When you're shopping at the legal cannabis dispensaries, you got to know what products you're buying. So that's what we got to learn what THC is and CBD is. On the products themselves, they'll show the different percentages of what product has so much THC and what product has so much CBD. So you got to know your different levels and understand how cannabis works in the legal side. Here's some cannabis display units. The cannabis here, you can take this little plug off there and smell the cannabis. Some of the display units, they'll have a magnifying glass on it, and you can look at the cannabis plant, see some of the trichomes and the different colors in the plant, and really take a look at what the flower is. There's some different strains. There comes in all kinds of different strains, different levels of THC, different levels of CBD. But the strains, they can be called anything, different names people make up. Like this one here is called Vision Quest. video on cannabis edibles.
Edible cannabis, cannabis extracts, and cannabis topicals will soon be legal in Canada for adults to purchase. However, it will take time before these new cannabis products become available for purchase. Here's what you need to know about these new products, including ways you can lower the risks to your health if you choose to consume cannabis. Start with a low level of THC, for example, 2.5 milligrams or less in cannabis products that you eat or drink. Compared to inhaling cannabis, it can take longer to feel the effects of cannabis that you eat or drink, up to 2 hours to begin to feel the effects, and up to 4 hours to feel the full effects. The effects of eating or drinking cannabis can last up to 12 hours, and some residual effects can last up to 24 hours. If you've consumed cannabis, do not drive. Store all cannabis products safely and keep them out of the reach of children, youth, and pets. This is particularly important for edible cannabis, which may be mistaken for regular food or drink. Find out more and get the facts at canada.ca/cannabis. A message from the Government of Canada.
Yeah, the cannabis edibles, they're in all legal cannabis dispensaries now, so there's all kinds of different forms of cannabis. Could be in edible form, could be topicals, or tinctures. But here's some pictures of some samples of cannabis, cannabis edibles. They can come in forms like mint or gummies. These are forms of cannabis that are in tea, chocolate, even in drinks. And they come in big pens too now. So those are all the legal cannabis products available. You should not use cannabis if you're allergic to cannabis or to smoke. Under the age of 25, poses a greater risk to mental health, especially during adolescence. Have personal or family history with serious mental disorders such as schizophrenia, psychosis, bipolar, and depression. Have serious liver, kidney, heart, or lung diseases. Are pregnant, planning to become pregnant, or nursing. Have a history of alcohol or drug abuse or substance dependence. This is just a picture of the human brain. The brain is not fully developed until you're 25. Your brain develops from back to front. So this is your prefrontal cortex, and that's not fully developed till you're 25. So that's why Health Canada says the delay you're used to till you're 25 before you start to use cannabis. This is just a picture of the road to addiction. Stage 1 is casual use. Stage 2 is abuse. Stage 3 is addiction. Cannabis harm reduction. Just some information on why there was a push for legalization in Canada. It was just to establish safe and responsible production systems, increase user knowledge and product potency, and decrease the likelihood of lacing with other drugs such as fentanyl, carfentanil, methamphetamines, which can lead to overdoses. So the government wants to keep cannabis out of the hands of criminals in the black market. So that's why they legalize cannabis nationwide in Canada. And just to design a distribution system that produces the least harm to users and non-users. Also to reduce the strain on the criminal justice system, to expand scientific knowledge. Cannabis has the potential to be less deadly alternative in the face of opiate crisis declared in First Nations and municipalities. Delay using cannabis till the age of 25 is recommended. Choose low THC levels, higher CBD levels. Stay away from synthetic cannabis products. Avoid regular use. Try 1 day per week or less. Use cannabis in ways that don't involve smoking. Try edibles or oils. If you do smoke, avoid deep inhalation or holding your breath. You don't You don't need to take a big haul, you just need to breathe it in and out, because any smoke is not good in your lungs. Lungs are only made for air. Not using cannabis is the best way to protect your health. People who use cannabis regularly develop psychological dependence. After regularly using cannabis for a long period of time, people can develop physical dependence. Symptoms can include irritability, anxiety, upset stomach, loss of appetite, sweating, and disturbed sleep. Those who use cannabis should be aware of the health risks and take measures to avoid them. Some cannabis rules and safety. Don't drive high, don't go to work impaired, buy from a legal source. Know the following rules where you can use cannabis in your community. Don't carry more than 30 grams in public unless authorized. There's some messaging about cannabis safety and rules. Some cannabis safety procedures. If you're using cannabis, do not drive, find an alternative. Stay overnight, call a taxi, share a ride, use public transportation, have a designated driver. Cannabis Act rules. To buy, possess, or use cannabis and cannabis products, you must be the legal age of 19 in Ontario. You can possess up to 30 grams of legal dried cannabis, so any cannabis products up to 30 grams in public, so you can have 30 grams in your pocket and nothing will happen. Limit for home cultivation, we talked about that earlier, is 4 plants per residence. It is legal to take cannabis and cannabis products, including those with CBD, across the Canadian border. Cannabis edibles, cannabis extracts, and cannabis topicals are now available for purchase at legal dispensaries. The Cannabis Act includes strict penalties for selling or providing cannabis and cannabis products to youth under the legal age. Cannabis policing. Law enforcement officers are trained to detect drug-impaired driving. They enforce the drug-impaired driving laws. They can do a standard field sobriety test, or they have a drug recognition expert that does an evaluation. And that evaluation process could be a toxicology sample. You can take your urine or blood and see how much THC is in your blood. But they have to take you to the hospital to do that part. They don't have a roadside test there. So. Cannabis driving laws and enforcement. Driving impaired is illegal. You could face consequences like a fine, criminal charges, even jail time. Drugs affect your ability to react to and increase the chance of a crash. Drug impaired charges, this is the lesser charge of drug impaired driving. Having 2 nanograms or less, but less than 5 nanograms of THC per milliliter of blood. Maximum fine is $1,000. This is the heavier charge, is having 5 nanograms or more of THC per milliliter of blood. First offense is $1,000 fine. Max could be 10 years imprisonment. Second offense is minimum 30 days imprisonment. Max could be 10 years. Third offense is mandatory minimum 120 days imprisonment. And the max could be 10 years for the third offense. So this is the key messages that we want people to be educated on. Let's keep the cannabis out of the hands of criminals, criminals on the black market. Keep the cannabis out of the hands of the youth. Purchase your cannabis from a licensed dispensary. Educate yourself on the health and safety risks with cannabis use. This is where I get my information from, is from CAM8, Center for Addictions and Mental Health, CCSA, Canadian Center on Substance Abuse. Some other ones, Drug Free Kids Canada, and Cannabis Canada. This has a lot of educational resource information you can view online. And that kind of concludes the presentation. These are the next presentation dates. Next presentation date will be Wednesday, February 12th, here at the land office. Have any questions?
Easel?
Do I know?
We passed a policy of one of our organizations, be of an area where people want medical
Oh, okay.
only, but not for recreational.
Right. Yeah, under Smoke Free Canada, you're legally allowed to smoke where the smoke free areas are. Yeah, so any public places where you have where you can smoke, that's where you can smoke your cannabis too.
What's a nanogram?
That's kind of hard to explain. It's more complicated.
That's for driving safely, that you can't have that, right?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
kind of how they read how much THC is in your blood, in your system.
Yeah, oh.
But it's complicated to
Okay.
explain. I'm not a scientist, so I can't explain that part of it. But yeah, that's the limit for impaired. So it'd be the same thing as driving impaired by alcohol. There's a limit to how much you can drink. So that's the limit for cannabis.
So to carry cannabis driving or somewhere, does it have to be in like a container from the dispensary or something, or can you just have it in a bag or?
Well, yeah, you should have it in legal cannabis products, but just
Because I was pulled over there one time,
yeah.
and I had it in my my glove compartment, and the officer smelled it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he took it out, he looked at it, it was just under an ounce, I believe.
Okay.
And all he told me was to put it in a trunk, it can't be in arm's reach or something like that.
Oh, okay.
So I was okay to put it in my trunk, and all I had to do was pocket.
Yeah, like they're not gonna take you to court for possession of cannabis, because it'd be too hard to track. Well, where did this cannabis come from? Is it legal? Is it not legal? They're not gonna waste their time with possession like that, though. They're more focused on the black market, with getting black market dealers or so they won't waste their time on simple possession like that.
Oh, okay.
Any other questions? No? No, good. I have some questions we can look at. Just give me a look here.
You know, when you're looking at that border crossing, that also includes CBD, right?
Yeah, you can't carry CBD across the border. It's still a cannabis product, right?
Even if a doctor prescribed it to you or whatever?
Right,
That'd be
yeah,
different?
you can't take it across the border. You can go from province to province, but not to the US or wherever, to another country.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Jan.
When someone has a medical cannabis, and how do you relate to that? Do you consider them impaired and they keep talking to you?
If they have a medical license, they're approved by a doctor to use cannabis.
Yeah.
So, it's legal, like cannabis is legal, but it's just for, driving. You can't drive impaired. That's mainly what, rules. It'd be the same thing as drinking and driving. You don't want impaired people on the road. Yeah.
If you were to drive, how long would it be in your system?
4 to 6 hours is kind of what the range is for driving. Yeah, so if you consume cannabis, they say, well, wait at least 4 to 6 hours.
But I guess that's different with edibles and stuff too. as I said.
Yeah, edibles are, because it's a delayed reaction, right? So it'll take longer for edibles to kick in. It can take 30 to 90 minutes for edibles to kick in, but if you just smoke it, it's right away, right? Within minutes. I got some questions here we can kind of talk about, and just if you have any kind of responses, give us some answers. First question is, why do people start using cannabis? English.
Peers.
Peers?
Yeah. I know. Just give her a roll.
Peers, family, yeah.
Peers, family?
Boredom?
Boredom, yeah. Any other reasons why people start using cannabis?
Sick. To support their families. Like
Support
black
their
market,
family?
black market.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that could be one. Really?
Because people are sick. Well, I just seen something where some little girl used to have, I don't know what she had, but she was sick, and it's not weed, but I think it's cannabis something. I don't know if it's
seizure or something?
yeah. Well, that's why Roy smokes weed, because he has seizures and he has to smoke.
Or medicinal.
Medicinal purposes,
Yeah.
yeah. There's medical cannabis, and it's used for different ailments. Comes in different forms of whatever the medical doctor will prescribe for the patient, right?
Yeah, like that Charlotte's Web. I heard about Charlotte's Web, and I was trying to look for some because it was supposed to stop seizures, and couldn't find it anywhere. But anyways, yeah, so we just go with indica because I think that sativa is, I don't know. I think it's too strong for him.
Yeah, like there is a place in Sudbury that you can get with a cannabis doctor. That's the
Yeah.
closest one I know, and it's called Body Stream
Yeah.
Cannabis Services, and they just do the initial assessment. They'll go over what your ailments are, and they'll do an assessment with the doctor, your family doctor.
So do you have to get recommended by your family doctor?
No, you don't need a referral. You can just go straight to them. They can get your medical records from your doctor, and they can go from there. Set you up with an appointment to a cannabis doctor.
Yeah.
But they can prescribe whatever cannabis you need, if you need it in the dried flower form or if you need it in the oil form. I don't think they have the edibles yet, but you have to check that out with the doctor.
Okay, so Roy, he had his card, his medical card, and then we had seen on in the mail that a letter was sent out that we couldn't have anything mailed to us anymore.
Oh, okay.
So he stopped buying online, and then his license expired.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's enforced or not. I know the chief did send out that letter
Yeah.
some time ago, but I don't know who enforces it. And I guess the post office, I guess, would be the ones that.
Or probably from where it's distributed.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like I know there are different online companies you can purchase off, and you know.
Well, that's what we used to do, and then I just didn't want to lose out on $108 or something like that, right? It's,
That was only for the Ontario cannabis store, like the
Oh.
legal Ontario dispensary. Yeah, so if you order online, it could be from another province, right?
yeah.
Or another country.
States, yeah.
Yeah, so. Who tracks that, who enforces it? Is it followed up? Who knows?
So recreational cannabis can turn medicinal? If you use it for recreational, it can turn medicinal?
You have to get the medical evaluation done with a cannabis doctor. That's how you get the medical prescription. But yeah, cannabis is legal recreationally.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been around for since 2018 now. We'll move on here. Why do people not use cannabis? Any ideas on why people do not use cannabis?
Affects them negatively.
Affects them negatively, yeah.
And financially?
Financially, yeah.
Scared to be addicted?
Yeah, for sure. Scared to be addicted.
They just don't like the feeling.
They don't like the feeling, yeah.
Some people like to be grounded, right? And they get paranoid.
Yeah, we don't want the paranoia.
Yeah.
What-
I just laugh because when I do, I get all paranoid.
Yeah,
I'd just rather not, you know?
yeah, yeah.
Rather not.
Rather not go there.
Yeah.
Maybe it could be costly. Maybe that's why people don't want to use it.
Yeah, for sure, it costs money, you know.
There's that stigma that people look at it as a negative thing, like a gateway, and that if you take that, you know, it can, you know, mess up your mind and your brain and things like that, and that's sort of, some people think that, right? It's just an automatic thought that some people think of that right away when they see it or hear about it, right? It's kind of an unfair projection on it, you know, from
Right.
a certain group of people. But one video that you showed, the last one, I thought was kind of interesting about the one that's way back in like the 50s or something like that.
Right,
Of
right.
what they were using with it and why they wanted to ban it, you know, it's like, it's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. It's come a long way now, and like the stigma around it, you know, it's still there. It's just, you know, people got to get comfortable with talking about cannabis like it's, you know, normal, because it's, you know, it's legal now. What is a comfortable amount of cannabis for one individual? Any
One
ideas?
joint a day.
One joint a day?
I don't know.
What's a comfortable amount?
I guess it would depend on the person.
Depends on the person?
Yeah.
Like how long they've been using, or?
Yeah, like someone who's been smoking for 30 years compared to someone who's been smoking for a month.
Right,
They're gonna have different
different
needs,
amounts?
I guess, yeah.
What kind of,
So like for a first month smoker, he should be smoking pretty much maybe once a week.
once a week, yeah?
Yeah, twice a week, something like that. I don't know, everyday smoker would do it about every day.
Yeah.
Gram a day probably,
Gram a day?
is what they take.
Yeah. Some prescriptions are like, they're a gram a day for the medical side, but recreational use is, you know, it's wide open, right?
Yeah.
How does cannabis affect your well-being? What impact does cannabis have on your parenting? Does it affect parenting skills or your home life?
Well, when you don't tell, like when one spouse will be smoking, it's like a closet drink, or they don't let the other one know, and then you have a conflict of interest, let's say, and one is sober, one is high on cannabis. They don't know, but they're trying to interact, and your relationship or conversation falls short, doesn't make any sense. So one looks bad, one looks good, like the left hand and right hand twin. And when you confront it in parenting, it's hard to distinguish, because they have that, well, cannabis is legal now, I could do that. But I'm sober, I don't feel it's right.
Good.
Maybe fear.
Fear?
Fear that your child, because you're sending your child off to school, and you're kind of afraid what kind of stuff that they can get into.
Right.
So then maybe mistrust.
Distrust?
Yeah, because you're giving them money and you're hoping that it's being used for lunch.
Right, right.
Yeah. So there could be mistrust, like in a teenager or a child.
I was thinking about this one time at work years ago, and there's this guy that was there, and he was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and I was trying to figure out why he was like that, you know, because one minute he's like really arrogant and tearing a piece off of everybody, and it almost seems like you're walking on eggshells, and you have to be on your toes with this guy, right? And the next moment, he's all calm, collective, and he's working away with everybody and all that. But with him, he was saying that when he takes it, it calms him down.
Yeah.
Right? And because he has high anxiety, and I'm not sure whether kind of behaviors that he might have been introduced to or was born with.
Right.
But then that was something that I actually witnessed myself directly by seeing the effects of what it can do to mellow somebody who's really high, high energy, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So,
Calm them right down.
so calming them down could be a good way, it could be a good thing for this person apparently, right? Opposed to, him not being in his normal state where he is without it.
Right, right. Any other impacts for parenting? What about your social life? What do you think the impacts are on your social life?
I think when you're in youth, actually, it pushes it up.
Yeah.
It's like when you first get introduced to alcohol as well, right? Then everybody gets in that little click kind of thing, and it's like party time.
Right, right.
But then I think that when you get a little older, some people will walk away from that scene, but then there's still a group that still do it, right?
Maybe you need it all the time.
And you need it all the time?
Yeah, maybe that's the only way you're gonna socialize is if you're high.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, like you use it as a drug to relax you,
To relax you.
and so then you depend on it maybe.
They give you courage.
Yeah, yeah, for courage, just like the beer.
Yeah, the liquid courage.
Yeah,
is called
people
the
start
thing.
talking.
Well, sometimes like with those black markets, they sort of, like if you don't, they introduce it, but if your mind set on, say, education, I want a higher education, say university, but the cannabis wants to, no, you're not good enough, they give you negative feedback, you're not gonna make it. And they end up taking a high standard lower, just for cannabis, negative.
What impacts does cannabis have on your family life?
It can be rough.
Could be rough?
Yeah, well, I'm just talking about us because I don't like it, but it seems like he can't.
Function?
Yeah, it just causes a lot of grief or stress, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Because, I don't know, to me it's just like, I don't know, it's just hard, and I could feel that. Like even just before coming here, he's sitting there smoking and I'm like, oh, I gotta go, because I was gonna come here. And then his reaction was like, oh, are you okay? And I'm like, well, I'm gonna go to the cannabis information session because, I would like it if he could quit, but I don't know,
He
hard
needs
to-
it.
yeah.
We do have resources at Rainbow Lodge there. We have cannabis counselors that can help.
Well, that's what I try telling him and stuff like that, and so, at one minute it's like, yeah, maybe I'll go for counseling, and then you just don't.
There's other harm reduction strategies that we can use too.
Yeah.
That's what the resources will show. How to use cannabis less and less,
Oh, that would be
and
good.
wean yourself off, basically.
I think there would be dysfunction in the family.
Dysfunction?
Yeah, and people are afraid to say something. They know what's going on, but nobody's talking.
Right.
Yeah, because I have a family member that does that, and I know the person does it in the shed, and
Yeah.
I could smell it when I'm next door,
Yeah.
I think that like the impact is price, but the price, I think it's good that they let you know, like coming out from the blue. You didn't know I smoked this and I was this, and for a sober person, it's like, oh, then it's like, what do you do from there? So you smoke, now, where do you go from there? Like, that's what I found it hard to understand, what was, not knowing the person was high.
Right.
and yet they justify their action.
Mhm.
That's what brings the separation with the communication.
For sure. One partner might not like it, and then the other partner might like it, so, yeah, I'm gonna have that conversation about cannabis, you know? That's part of, your family life.
Part of an action item would be if it's creating a problem within the family, then one should go to another location to actually do it, not do it in the household, right? It's like with smoking, right? We go outside and smoke, right? So maybe there could be another little shelter or garage or something where it's a designated spot, you know,
Yeah.
go and do it or something.
What impacts does cannabis have on your work life? Any ideas on how it would affect your work?
How do you get up in the mornings?
Yeah?
I guess it would depend. If you smoke, I find if you smoke before bed or something, and it is definitely harder to get up in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's some employers, especially if you're working with heavy equipment operator,
Right.
you get tested for that because you're going to be impaired.
Yeah.
Yeah,
CVOR, commercial vehicle.
yeah, because some
recreation,
people
yeah.
have been sent home.
Yeah, you
The
can't.
northern, like if they worked in Baffin land and they're found with one joint, they got let go right there on the spot.
Yeah, you can't have anything in your system when you're operating heavy equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah, the companies will do
Yeah, because
testing.
they'll do drug testing. They'll do drug testing before you get there, and they can, yeah.
Yeah, and do random testing, so,
Mhm.
yeah, that's the, it's all up to businesses, right, for health and safety.
Mhm.
Well, on the other hand, you come home from a hard day's work and you're sore and
Mhm.
smoke some of that, ready for bed, you're good to go.
Yeah,
Then the only downside is hard to get up in the
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess that's why they kind of equate it with drinking, right?
right,
Like, and like you're driving and you've been drinking, so you're impaired, and if you smoke marijuana, you're impaired. But I think it's something, yeah, people could do in their like, social life or their downtime, right? People come home and have a bottle of beer or something,
yeah,
as long as it's not happening during work time.
yeah. It's legal, you know.
I remember years ago when I worked in a kitchen, and then this waiter and myself would smoke a doobie at the time, and then he'd go and do his stuff, do his cleaning inside the bar, and then I would clean the kitchen. And I was so detailed, and it just felt like it took me forever to clean that kitchen, but that kitchen was spick and span.
Yeah,
But I was oblivious to anything else around me, because I was just so focused on cleaning.
yeah.
Right, and it was my best job cleaning that place, and I enjoyed it.
Mhm.
In your own world.
Yeah, I was in my own world, my own groove, and that was it, right?
I think it's different for everybody, because some people, like if they go to work, they can't function unless they smoke a joint. And some, they can't function if they smoke a joint.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
It affects them differently, I guess, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like somebody, when they drink beer and too much, some people get mad and somebody is just like laughing away. Like, everybody's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's a lot of dealing with how you feel inside you, right?
Mhm.
When you're influencers, and you sometimes that brings it out, right?
Mhm.
But I see more aggression when it comes to alcohol than I do with cannabis. Right? I'm not a user myself personally, but I don't think I've ever seen anybody on using just
Cannabis.
basic
Yeah.
cannabis, right?
Another question is, what impact does cannabis have on your spirituality? Any ideas on how it will affect your spirituality?
It is a medicine, right?
It is medicine, it's medical, yeah.
The thing, I'm not too sure exactly about it, but I just know that it was used as medicine. But then that's what we're trying to, I was looking at, where did the cannabis plant come from? Right, and then someone was just mentioning it to me, it was somewhere in the mountains of India or something like that, somewhere over there. And then I guess the Dutch had it, so then the Dutch brought it here, and then it just flourished all over the place, right?
Right.
But then I was thinking that, well, I always thought it was here pre-European contact. But then they said that it was
Yeah, it's hard to say. It's all over the world now, so. So any other ideas on how it will affect your spirituality?
I don't know, I know my son one time, when he was alive, he was kind of like going Christian, but I don't know. But he still smoked weed, and then when he was talking to the pastor and he's telling him about weed,
Oh, yeah.
and then he says, yeah, but I read in the Bible here, God made herb and it was good. So, and the pastor didn't have like anything to say to him. He said, we'll just talk about it another time.
Well, it's written in the Bible. Another question is, what are impacts of with cannabis before legalization? Any ideas on what the impacts were before legalization?
Well, one thing that I would say is that you don't know what your product you're going to get. You don't know what kind of product you're going to get, because you could get something where somebody would put like antifreeze in it or other chemicals in it.
Right.
They use provide radiator so they can induce it.
Right.
And then you take it, and then it gives you a totally different feeling.
For
Where
sure.
it actually could really mess up your mind, right?
A lot of risk.
Yeah, a lot of higher risk up there, was even with that crocodile drug that was going around that actually killed you.
Oh, okay.
The people were using it, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
So you want to be able to have some kind of consistency with, and have some surety that when you know buy something, you know it's good.
Yeah.
But I just look at there's negative effects, but then also the other thing is when you walk with some dealers, they can be right behind you.
Yeah.
Or they're just there to take your money.
Right.
Other people will try to take your weed on you, what have you, why it, depending on where you're going, right? So there's always that uncertainty too, when you go to a dealer to buy it, what you get.
Yeah.
And then they may also have try to put parsley in there, or some other kind of product, right? Because you're not guaranteed you're gonna get what you're paying for.
For sure. So this. Yeah.
I like one incident that, like one officer stopped us at a big concert, and just the way he was very nice, eh? And he took the cannabis away, and he says, do you really need to have cannabis to enjoy your concert and event? And that was nice, because it made you think, being a young age. No, I really don't. I really enjoyed just going to my concert, just being who I was, just, a citizen, good citizen, and then I think the impaired part I realized, because I was a passenger in being driven home after work, and the police again stopped us because the guy ran a red light. He didn't know, but he was high on cannabis. And the officer was very polite, but he said, there was just what do you call it, roaches, and he was polite though. He says, I could arrest you all for all this, and then I thought, I was just smoking. But like just the implications, sometimes it makes you fearful. I don't want to cause any trouble. I couldn't know yourself to say I could enjoy myself before cannabis.
Right.
Know yourself. You don't really need it to enjoy it, but people do, and that's something that I guess I would have to consider, because I was pro-against it before.
Oh, yeah.
It was really, I saw too much violence with cannabis, and being employed, they weren't allowed inside at the events. So when that police confronted, the concept of do you really have to have it, and confiscating it, but it really made you think, because job-wise, before legalization, like my job title was no, and you weren't allowed to come in.
Right.
And same with alcohol. So I don't do that as much anymore. but you don't get compensated you know, like it doesn't, it doesn't help. You know, there's no, like trying to legalize it is, I think, might change a little bit, like the perception.
So that will take us to our next question. What are the impacts with cannabis after legalization? So there was the fear before legalization, because you could get arrested, jail time, fines. So what are the impacts now that it's legalized?
Is there not enough of it?
There's not enough of that? I'm pretty sure there's lots out there.
Oh, yeah? So the ones that were able to get their license to open up a store, were they able to? I thought there was always talk that there wasn't enough of it.
Well, there was probably some hype put into that, like put in a little scare tactic so you can go purchase
From illegal.
from,
Yeah, but it
well,
wasn't
from
that-
any dispensary, legal
Yeah.
or illegal, but yeah. But I don't think there's no shortage of cannabis. There might have been at the beginning, but you know, summer is over, so it should be well stocked. There's all kinds of different cultivators out there now, all over Canada.
Like what I was talking about on the first question, or this here, at least it can give you a product that you know when you're going to go in there, you're going to get the product you buy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's more information now, and when you go to buy it, like before, nobody talks about what it is you're actually smoking. But now you can go into the store and say, okay, you know, I'm having seizures, what's the best, whatever. And then they can say, some, like when we first went, we wanted to take, and she opened up a big book, big binder, and she's like, okay, and then, you know, oh, this would be good, this would be good, and stuff like that. So there's more information now, like, since it's been legalized, yeah. And whereas before, it was that fear, like even when I wouldn't let him buy off anybody in Wiki.
Yeah.
You know, I would drive to Wanapate just to go and get it because I knew what I was getting and it wasn't going to make him sick.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't want him to have rat poisoning in his system.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Right.
That you can go to accustomed to what's alienating you, physically or mentally or whatever it may be, right? And then going over there and finding out which particular product is best for what your it's putting you at this disease, right?
Right, yeah, whatever your ailment is. That's basically what Health Canada wants, is people to be educated on what products are out there and how they work. That's why we've got to know the three different types of cannabis, the sativa, indicas, and hybrids. The difference between THC and CBD, the different levels, that's all education. You can find all kinds of information now on cannabis, but you couldn't get that from your black market drug dealer 4 years ago. But yeah. Well, I think that's some good dialogue there. So I'd like to thank you all for coming out and coming to the presentation.
So those stores in Shawenda, they're legal?
They're legal. They're not legal dispensaries.
Oh, they're illegal?
Yeah,
All of them?
all of them. Yeah.
Oh,
Are they going under that section 25 and section 35? The Canadian Constitution?
or they're going under the Indian Act, those sections?
No, the Canadian Constitution.
Constitution, Canadian
Yeah,
Constitution.
section 25 and 35, where they say that it's a federal or Canadian Constitution, the Constitution at the highest level, so when they don't have to listen to the province. I think that's what that message is.
Oh,
So I don't know if that's the same kind that they're there, I'm not sure. But I've been running into this, you know, every so often, that this is a new thing that's coming up to challenge these things, right? You know, food for thought.
Yeah.
I just get used to watching.
yeah.
All right, thank you. If you need any information, I got the information here. You can contact me.
So where's your food? Just kidding.
gonna say samples. Where's your free samples?
Oh, yeah, it's at 30G, right?
Yeah, 30 Gs, yeah. That's just some messaging, like 30 grams is, which are legally, you can have on you. That's per day, like, it doesn't matter how much you use in a year, 30 grams a day.
Oh, sorry, doctor, your next book is
Yeah,
burning into my mind.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah, thanks for coming out.
So the store, Wiki's going to have is recreational.
Well, it's gonna be a legal dispensary.
Yeah,
Yeah, but they'll have, it's recreational.
yeah.
Yeah, put on standby.